Family harmony collapsed in an instant when the heroine's mother decided to return to her own apartment. The husband perceived it as an invasion and immediately issued an ultimatum. If your mother moves in, then mine will move in too. He didn't understand the obvious truth. They were living in the apartment of their mother-in-law, completely free of charge, and she was simply coming back to her own home. The mother-in-law, pleased with this turn of events, had already packed her suitcases and headed straight to them. Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to my channel. Today I present to you a new, compelling story. Enjoy listening. The three-room apartment near Preobrazhenka had been inherited by Yulia from her grandmother. It was old, with cracked paint, worn wallpaper, and outdated plumbing, but it was hers, and most importantly, it was in the center of Moscow, where even a one-room apartment cost nearly 20 million rubles. Yulia worked as a manager in a construction company, earning around 70,000 rubles a month. Renting an apartment on her salary would have been impossible. And here she had 3 whole rooms, yes, in need of renovation, but that could be fixed. When she met Kirill, she immediately liked his openness and simplicity. He worked as an engineer at a factory, earned about 60,000 rubles. Not much, but he was cheerful, easygoing, and pleasant to be around. After 6 months of dating, he proposed. Yulia agreed without much hesitation. It wasn't the passion of a lifetime, but a calm, reliable man by her side seemed like a good future. Kirill's mother, Rima Borisovna, appeared at the wedding in a bright crimson suit with an impressive hairstyle that resembled a bird's nest. She loudly admired the restaurant, guests, and especially the apartment, when Kirill casually mentioned that Yulia had her own place. "Oh my goodness," Rima Borisovna exclaimed, grabbing Yulia's hand. "Now he'll finally live like a human being." Yulia said nothing. Something in her tone felt unsettling, but she chose not to dwell on it. It was a wedding, after all, a celebration. After the wedding, the newlyweds moved into Yulia's apartment. Kirill brought 2 bags of belongings, hung his engineering diploma on the wall, and sprawled out on the couch with satisfaction. "Ah, this is life," he sighed. "Finally a normal place to live. I'm so tired of rented apartments. Landlords always demanding something." "I'm glad you like it," Yulia smiled, sitting beside him. "Listen," Kirill suddenly said, "how about my mom comes for a week? She really wants to see where we live." "A week?" Yulia repeated. "Well, okay. Just warn me in advance." Rima Borisovna arrived 2 weeks later with bags of groceries, a box of pastries, and a firm determination to reorganize the young couple's life. "Oh my, this place is so neglected," was the first thing she said upon entering. "Yulia, you don't take care of the house at all. Dust on the chandelier, peeling wallpaper, mold in the bathroom." Yulia swallowed her irritation. "The apartment is old," she replied calmly. "We're planning renovations." "Planning?" the mother-in-law scoffed. "Well, we'll see." 1 week turned into 3. Rima Borisovna woke up before everyone, clanged pots in the kitchen, cooked breakfasts, and constantly lectured Yulia on how to run a household. In the evenings, she sat in the living room watching TV and loudly commented on the news. Whenever Yulia hinted that it might be time to go home, Rima Borisovna, "Am I bothering you? I help, I cook, I clean, I do laundry, and you're ungrateful." Kirill stayed silent. He came home from work, ate dinner, watched TV with his mother, and went to bed. Yulia's attempts to talk privately were met with his exhaustion. "Yulia, what's wrong with you? Mom just wants to help. Don't get so worked up." One day, Yulia came home early and overheard Rima Borisovna talking on the phone. "It's fine here," she said. "The apartment is big. 3 rooms in the center. Yulia is no housekeeper at all. I do everything. Kirill is happy. If I play my cards right, I might stay here permanently. Why sit alone in my tiny apartment?" Yulia froze. Everything became clear. That evening she confronted Kirill. "Your mother has been living with us for 2 months. Maybe it's time she went home?" Snapped. "She's not bothering anyone. She is bothering me," Yulia said quietly. "We're newlyweds. We need space." "What do you mean, our apartment?" Kirill snapped. "Yours, you mean?" Yulia was stunned. "Yes, mine. My grandmother left it to me." So what? He replied coldly. I'm just a temporary guest here. That was the moment everything began to fall apart. From that day on, Rima Borisovna acted as if she owned the place. She rearranged furniture, threw out things she disliked, and even invited her friends over without asking. The final straw came when she rearranged the living room furniture without permission. This is my apartment, Yulia said firmly. You have no right to change anything here. Oh, your apartment? Rima Borisovna sneered. My son lives here. And you? You're just a guest. That night, Kirill sided with his mother. And that was when Yulia finally understood. This marriage was over. In the end, Yulia told both of them to move out. She filed for divorce. Kirill tried to argue, demanded compensation, but the law was on Yulia's side. The apartment was inherited before marriage. It was her personal property. There was nothing to divide. Yulia renovated the apartment slowly, room by room. Bright walls, new plumbing, simple modern furniture. For the first time, she felt peace. It was her home, her territory. A year later, she accidentally ran into Kirill in the metro. They exchanged brief glances. He wanted to say something, but Yulia simply nodded and walked past.